We're joined now by the broadcaster Piers Morgan. Good evening. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. And I heard you being introduced as a legendary broadcaster by Laura Kunsberg the other day. We're not going to go that far, but welcome to the programme. And is this the way to deal with Donald Trump? Pomp, pageantry, royalty, military bands, basically flatter him?
Well, I think also you hit the nail on the head with what Laura Kunsberg said about me. I think flattery right at the top goes a long way, Mr. Austin. You're just not familiar with the phrase legendary broadcaster. But I think in relation to Donald Trump, I think what we're giving him as a country in these 2 days is very important because we are recognising that he is the leader of the most powerful country in the world. They're our main ally. They're the ally we most rely on. Whether it's the economy, whether it's the military, whatever it is, we rely on the Americans. And you can dislike Donald Trump individually, personally. You can dislike his manner, his rhetoric. That's all completely understandable. He's not for everyone. But I think that also there's an interesting piece in The Economist this week that whilst the British people have that view, largely, the majority, also, there's a rising amount of support for Trumpism. In other words, the kind of things that he stands for. You know, and if you ask Trump, he would say that means a strong, well-regulated border. I think most Brits would like a piece of that in our country. Lower taxes, tougher on crime, fewer foreign wars. There are lots of things, and he's taken on the woke ideology head-on, in particular issues like trans athletes and women's sport and so on. There are many people in Britain who may not even particularly like Trump themselves, but who recognise that a lot of the things he stands for are things they wouldn't mind in our country.
Right. I mean, this is today with the pageantry was the easy bit in many ways, and tomorrow you're going to have the news conference and his talks with Starmer. I mean, which Trump do you think we'll get? The kind of affable Trump tomorrow or the shooting from the hip Trump?
Well, I had a text exchange with him this morning. He was on very good form, very happy to be here. Hard to overstate how much he loves the royal family. You know, I had a conversation with him a while ago when he reminded me that he watched the coronation of Queen Elizabeth when he was 6. And it was just when television had first come out. You probably remember, Mark. I suspect you were on air at the time, starting your career. But he was 6. His mum was Scottish, lived in Scotland until she was 18, watching it in New York with him. And they were watching the coronation. That really embedded in Trump a lifelong adoration of the royal family. So for him, he's now had 2 state visits, one with the Queen and one with now her eldest son, the King, Charles. That's a unique historic achievement, but also for him, something I'm sure he's thinking is he's going to the state dinner tonight and had all this pomp and pageantry on a scale nobody else has been given, by the way, for any foreign leader in living memory. He'll be thinking, I'm sure, of his mother and how much that would have meant to her. That will mean a lot to Trump. And if that makes him feel better about our country, if that makes him feel more inclined to do a slightly better trade deal because he feels we've treated him with great respect, then actually I'm all for it.
Look, we've only got 2.5 minutes left, but I want to ask you about Charlie Kirk and how dangerous a moment do you think it is for America?
Oh, it's incredibly dangerous, I think, because here you have somebody who invited open debate. Charlie Kirk's great thing, his great mantra, was you may not agree with me, but I'm prepared to debate it. Come and let's talk about this. Let's debate it. Tell me where you think I'm wrong. That was what he did all the time. That's why he went to university campuses. And the idea that he was then assassinated in such a brutal fashion by a deranged young person who the authorities believe was radicalised, as they put it, by leftist ideology, which made him think that Charlie Kirk's views were not just something that should be ignored or challenged or disputed, but that the only way to debate with him was to kill him. That is a remarkably dangerous moment for free speech. And we've had our own free speech issues in the UK with the ridiculous farce over Graham Linehan, the comedian, who was arrested by 5 armed police at Heathrow for jokes he put on social media. What's happened in America last week is obviously of a infinitesimally more dangerous and serious level. But at the heart of it is, what is free speech? Free speech is not, as the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, just said in America yesterday in comments she's now walked back, it is not a differential between, speech you like and hate speech. Hate speech has to be tolerated unless it trips into an incitement to violence. So I would urge people to really understand what free speech means.
Right, now look, we've got a minute left. I just want to ask you this because, look, you're outspoken. You run a programme called Uncensored. You know, it's divisive. Do you worry about your own safety, given what's happened?
Well, I get a lot of threats, like everyone who does this kind of job. I try and be somebody who brings people with all views together. I like to have people with differing views debating big issues, whether it's the war in Ukraine, the war in Gaza, Donald Trump, you know, P. Diddy. I don't care what the issue is. But I don't think that you can be cowed by what's happened to Charlie Kirk, because actually the people that perpetrated that, the killer, and the people that have gleefully celebrated that in the most sickening manner around America, we've seen so many people on the woke left actually cheering it, you cannot allow them to win.
Piers, I've got to go. We've got to go. End of the hour. Thanks very much indeed. Much more at the top of the hour.